Welcome to the Powered on Tech podcast with your host, Asher Dipprey. Plug in and power up for today's hottest tech topics.
Hey everyone. So I know that little voiceover you just heard did indeed kind of introduce you to the Powered on Tech podcast, but as you may have noticed, I actually changed the name. So now it's just called the Asher Dipprey podcast. I couldn't really think of anything else to name it. I thought it's kind of weird, but you have like the Joe Rogan podcast, that's just his name. The reason for this is because I want to start talking about things on here besides tech, like today. We're going to be talking about cool, like, paradoxes and kind of questions that are really hard to answer. And I think it's going to be really fun. It's going to it's just going to be fun to think, exercise your brain. I'd like to introduce my guests. I got Sun here. And,
Voila.
yup. And I got Peyton.
Hey.
Okay. Sorry about the cough. Anyway, let's get started. So, yeah, today, we're gonna be kind of diving into the realm of like theoretical, the paradoxical, and the truly confounding issues that have been debated over time. So, we're gonna have like 6 kind of questions, or they're like unanswerable basically, but hopefully they're gonna keep you at the edge of edge of your seat. So, this first segment is pretty cool. It's called the immortality paradox. Basically, if you had the choice, would it be a blessing or a curse to live forever? Son, let's start with you.
Alright. Personally, I would not want to live forever because, think about it. If you live forever, you're gonna see all your families die. You're gonna watch the sun explode. You're gonna be drifting through space for a long time, and that's not good.
I mean, that's weird because somehow you would be able to get into space without dying. Is it just like you would eventually die,
So
all your bones would break, and like you would be
you're immortal.
decapitated, but you would still be like alive inside of your crippled
Yeah,
body?
you would just no. You're just your consciousness. So you you would just be your head. So,
Oh
like
shoot, you're right. Or just like your brain, wherever your brain is.
yeah.
Well, wouldn't you like decompose over time?
Well, you're immortal, so you don't.
So you
I
don't
guess
decompose.
you're not. You can't be injured.
Oh, you can't be injured. So then what's wrong with drifting in space? Wouldn't that be
Well,
calming?
okay. Let's just go with that. You can't be injured, because technically you could be killed, because then your consciousness it just wouldn't work, would it?
Let me look this up. Immortal definition. Living forever, never dying or decaying. Okay, so I guess you don't decay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, floating in space would be calming, but the whole idea of calming is like after work. So if you are calming and you're resting all day, then is it really calming?
No, I
No.
think you'd be really stressed out.
Yeah.
Also, it would be hard to breathe. Like I know you'd never die from not breathing, but you would still not be able to breathe.
So you would like suck air from the edges of the universe, basically, because you
You
have
you
to.
just wouldn't breathe.
It would
Like you
be
would
that
just
much
feel like you're
pressure.
constantly being suffocated.
Oh shoot.
You'd feel your
Peyton, do
blood
you have any
boiling.
input on this topic that's plaguing the world?
Um, Personally, I think it would be a curse, but I can see both sides on how it could be a blessing or a curse. I guess it could be a blessing, especially if it was some kind of utopian society enough to where you're not struggling through life. Maybe if you have money or good friends, you'd have to make a lot of new friends because all your friends are going to end up dying. But I think it could be a blessing in the way that you get to learn new things and know things so far back from the past, and you get to see new things
Oh
as time goes
yeah.
on.
You would
But
get to
it's
like
also a
spread the
curse.
stories that like nobody else knows.
Yeah, but it's also a curse because the world isn't perfect, and I feel like you'd have to see so many things go wrong just to be able to make it to
Hmm.
where you are now.
So I think we can all agree that like the bad kind of does outweigh the good on that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's just like, would you rather see what's gonna happen in the next couple years, or watch all your friends and family die while you're still perfectly fine, and then eventually watch your entire planet get blown up by the sun or devoured by the sun, feel the burning heat of the sun, and then
I
eventually just
know.
drift
I
off
guess.
into space?
Well, would the planet really explode, or would it just become like a
It wouldn't explode.
wasteland?
It would just, the sun would basically just, like, it would just be melted from the sun and become part of the sun's mass. Like, the
Well,
gravity
then
would
you
just
would
pull
be
it.
like embedded in the rock, like you would be part of the rock,
Yeah.
and then as the habitat
Well,
kind
it
of
wouldn't even, it would just turn
regenerates.
into plasma.
I know, but
Like, it would just start
eventually,
melting.
think about it. If there's life on Earth, right? I feel like if the planet were to turn into like a plasma lava planet, then like an entire new ecosystem would evolve to like cells and stuff that are made out of plasma that are meant to withstand the heat that don't need to breathe, just because of the different environment.
Well, I mean, there's not an environment on our sun, is there?
No, but there's never been the introduction of life. But I'm saying if it happens slowly, if the sun slowly
Yeah,
moved
I
towards
guess
the
it
earth,
could.
animals might have time enough to like evolve to be like lava creatures and be able to survive like basically our planet melting.
That is true.
Because the difference between the ice age and now might not be as like might I mean that's a pretty big difference. The fact that animals were able to survive back then and like in the ocean and stuff. So if you take that difference and put it forward, like towards heat and towards dryness and towards everything being arid, then it might work. So that's, I don't know, I kind of digressed there, went off on a tangent, but I feel like life itself might be able to kind of evolve to like extreme
Temperatures.
environments, lack of food, etc. That's just something we don't really think about often.
Yeah, of course it would just start out as like bacteria.
Yeah, like little bubbles in the lava that are somehow able to survive.
I think it starts with an A. It's like Arcadia. It's only survives in extreme temperatures.
Like the water bears.
Of Archaebacteria. No, even more than that. It's like Archaea. It's in like hot springs or in like corrosive acid, and it survives in those type of things.
So those would evolve into animals, or the animals. Because what I'm saying is, if it happens slowly, right? If somehow, let me throw my music back on and get paused there. There we go. Like if somehow the sun were to like approach the planet over the course of 1 million years,
Slowly.
and it would slowly get hotter until stuff starts to melt. I feel like then it wouldn't have to start off as bacteria, because the animals we have right now would be able to like adapt to that.
That's a good theory.
There's probably so many things wrong with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because whenever the sun turns into a red giant, it's gonna collapse into like the size of like a volleyball, or I guess a beach, for like infinitely small amount of time, and it's just gonna become mass. Because it's like whenever the core.
Well, how do you know
out,
that, man? That's kind of crazy.
And then because they've observed it, and
They've observed it.
So I actually used to be really into space.
Yeah, I'm not arguing. I just don't know about space stuff, so I just want to know what you're talking about.
So it collapses like really small, just like not so small that it becomes like a black hole or like a neutron star. So I guess about the size of the Earth, which is still really small compared to the sun, and then it will expand into something like massive, which would go about to it would take out the first 4 planets, so all the way up to Mars. But you guys don't have to worry about that, because you will be long dead.
Yep, unless you're immortal. Exactly.
Unless you think it's a blessing, and you can get eaten by a star.
Honestly, I can't imagine why you would think that's a blessing. I'm very strongly on one side of that. I think we all are, except for Peyton, who seemed a little
Torn.
in between, torn. Yeah. Son, what is segment 2?
Segment 2 is, let's see, the paradox of choice.
And what is that,
having more
son?
choices less or more happy?
The classic
So
paradox.
basically, free will. So do you think if the government, let's just say the government controlled your life more than they already do, because if you think about it, a lot of stuff is already controlled by the government, would you be more or less happy?
Is that the paradox of choice?
Yeah. So if you have
I guess it
more
is.
or less choice, so basically
I have
people make choices
the classic
for you.
example I heard was like if you're in an ice cream shop and there's like a bunch of flavors and you get one, then you always like regret getting the other flavor.
Well, in this case, like the ice cream shop would be the government. Like in my example, because like then
I
they
guess
just
that makes
give you
sense.
less options. It's basically if you have more choices, are you happier or less happy?
Whereas, but in the ice cream shop, you can choose once. In the government, it's like the availability of choices.
Yeah, because well, the thing is about choice is that sometimes you make the wrong choice and it makes you less happy.
Yeah.
So what
We'll
if
go
they,
with your example.
like,
I like yours more because the ice cream one I've heard a bunch.
like what if they knowingly or they know what's right for you, so they do it, but then when like you would feel like that's like a void of choice. You know, you'd want to make your own choice and not have everything planned out for you, because wouldn't life just be boring?
Let's think about it. Let's do like, let's put it on extreme sides. So what if let's start off with like, what if everything is controlled? What do we have? We have everyone lives in like the same houses, I guess.
If you've read the book Giver, that's a very good example of it's
so
a
is like
children's book.
current United States or one of the Koreas.
Yeah, versus like North Korea.
Yeah. Well,
But obviously, like if you, I guess North Korea, but it's not as bad.
I think the main
like,
thing with
currently,
Korea is like talking against the government. Like the main difference between what's allowed here is like at least here we are able to write things against the government, against the people in control.
Yeah. So I think well, it depends whether the choices that are made for you are good or bad.
Explain.
Right? Because if you had, let's use the ice cream shop theory. You walk in, the choices you have there's like 5 choices, right? You walk in 5 best flavors. You're like, well, like if it's your 5 favorite flavors, it like works out. It's like the top 5 favorite flavors in the world.
But then it's harder.
Like
It's harder to choose.
The majority of people are going to be happy. But if you walk into the ice cream shop and it's like the 5 least liked flavors, then obviously like not like barely anybody's gonna want those flavors.
I know.
And they're making the choice for you.
But think about
you're gonna have one of those 5 flavors.
Think about this though. Think about this. There's 2 ice cream shops, right? And on one side you walk into the ice cream shop. There's 4 bad flavors and there's 1 good flavor. Cookies and cream, right? Might not be everybody's favorite, but I think everyone can appreciate cookies and cream ice cream. It's a pretty good baseline, pretty good go-to flavor. So you get the cookies and cream instead of all the other weird flavors, and you leave and you like it and it's good. Versus you go into the ice cream shop and it's your 5 favorite flavors. Then you first of all, you're going to spend a lot more time choosing one because they're all your favorite, and then you're going to leave and then you're going to regret not getting the other one. Yeah, so in general I feel like most people will be happier maybe not feel happier, but they would be happier on the inside with the first option, with cookies and cream and 4 like mediocre flavors, because of the difference in quality, the leap in flavor between the cookies and cream and the other flavors.
Yeah. Well, okay, if you think of this as like a life standpoint, you could, like, let's just say there's 5 jobs in the world. I know there's not. One, you work as, not saying that these are horrible jobs, I'm saying that they're on the lower end of paying. A garbage man, a teacher, a, you own Amazon, or, like, what's another low paying job?
Janitor.
A janitor, or
McDonald's.
like working at a fast food chain. Those are all low paying jobs other than the Amazon orders.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is gonna pick. Well, obviously in the world you can't. I guess you can only choose the lower one, because like you have the choice of job, but you also don't have the choice of job, because you have to, like, you can't just become like a high end worker. You gotta work for it. So I feel like everybody would be working to get like a higher end job. You know, I don't know. That didn't really make sense.
It's alright, because it made me remember something, that like the people who do like own Amazon stuff, apparently they're overworked and they're not really happy. Or not that they're not happy, but they're not as happy as people think they should be. And
Yeah.
this might not be true. This might be just things that we're told to make us feel better about having low-end jobs, and to make us not work hard enough to become the people in Amazon, because we think, oh, they're just as happy as we are, so why should I waste my time and put in this extra effort to get a better life? It could be that. It could be propaganda. But apparently people like Elon Musk and stuff are like overworked, they don't like their life, they're not happy, and they wish they could just have like a normal job. Maybe not like a trash can worker. I don't think that's the best job. Like, if, no offense, if you're a trash can worker, that's fine. But I've heard from multiple sources that the people who are living the high-end life, first class, all that stuff, aren't really happy because of the dopamine drain. It's not really as exciting as it was whenever they first started that life. But
That with less choices, you're going to be more compelled to. First of all, if there's just like not as many good choices, then you're going to pick the best one. It's good on the surface, but then you realize, oh, this isn't a good choice. So whenever you look for something else, the other ones aren't better.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now in our society, there's so many professions. There's so many like different choices of what you can do in life. And like even it comes down to the small things. There's better choices than others. Some look good on the surface and aren't good underneath. That I think being able to change to other choices that like whenever you realize your choice isn't good, making a different one the next time is always good. With less choices and the government controlling you, you like you have less freedom, you know, because your life just isn't interesting. Like Asher was saying about like the executives of like major companies. Like sometimes it's just not exciting having everything controlled like for you, because you're just same thing over and over again.
I know, especially for people like Elon Musk, because they're so controlled. It's crazy. I mean, and again, these are all lies. Not lies, but these are all things that I'm unaware that are true. I'm not completely talking out my butt. These are from things that I've heard, but I want to make it clear that I don't live near Elon Musk. I've never seen him. I've never talked to him. I've never been anywhere near. Well, I have been pretty near him, actually. That's for a different day. But it's I don't know a lot about these upper class people, so I just want to make that clear, that like I'm not speaking for them.
Yeah. Peyton, is there anything you'd like to add? Go on one of your tangents on how choices affect our lives? Well, so this is another one I'm kind of torn between, because if you have more choices, you definitely have more freedom and more control and power of your own life. But you're also, like, if you have less choices, you have less cares to worry about, and you have less mistakes that could be made, and there's less regret that you could have. So I think it kind of depends on the analogy you use. So if you're using the government analogy where the government's controlling you and you don't get any choices, then obviously you're going to want more choices, and it's going to make you seem like it's going to be better to have more choices. But if you use the ice cream one, where there's 5 of your favorite flavors, then you're obviously going to want to have less choices. So I think it really depends on how you make it look and how you set the appeal of the choices, because if you're making it look like choices are bad, then you're obviously going to want less choices. But if you're making it look like the choices are going to give you power, then you're going to want more choices. So I think it really depends, like, on the person and the kind of choices you have to make in the situation. Decide if you're really going to want to make more choices or less choices.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It's also like about knowledge, because like if you don't know about the other choices, you're not gonna regret them. Like here's a little example I just came up in my head. Imagine you live in this small town, right? And this girl, she sells water by the side of the road every day. And that's where you get your water. On the way to work, every day you stop by, you get a glass of water, you pay her, she gives you the water, and you good. You go, you like the water, it's cool because it's better than no water. And then one day, instead of the girl selling water, there's a boy, and he's selling lemonade. And you taste the lemonade, you pay him, you get a glass, you're like, damn, this is good. This is way better than water. It's sweet, it's awesome, gives me energy, and you go to work and you're super happy. And then the next day, you walk down the street, and the girl is selling water again, and the boy's gone. The boy left town, he moved, or whatever. There's no more lemonade. So now you're disappointed, and you don't like the water anymore, because it's not as good as lemonade. Whereas the 2 days before, when it was water, and it was better than no water, you would have been happier. Because
That's
so
it's very true. It's kind of like a dog tasting blood. Like once they try blood, like they're like a lot of dogs, especially like a tech, they're gonna want it more.
I never heard that. That makes
Cause,
sense
cause
though.
you don't know what you're missing out on
Hmm.
until you try it and it's not.
And sorry, I just clipped the mic with my cough. Yeah, it's not really like an addiction. It's just it's like you're constantly trying to
Just real
strive for
life.
the best, but then you strive more whenever there's a new best, if that makes sense.
Hmm. No, I definitely agree. So if you had to say overall in your life, would you rather have more choices or less choices in every aspect of life?
As a human, I have to say more choices. It just makes sense to me.
Personally, I have to say less choices because I'd rather not have the stress. I'm gonna have to agree with Asher on this one, having
I feel like it's different if the
more
choices
choices.
change or not.
Yeah.
If there's constantly like new choices, like like a new iPhone coming out every year, then I would go with less choices. But if there's just like more choices overall, and everything kind of stays the same, like the ice cream flavors in the ice cream shop are always there, and they don't get new flavors and they don't run out, then I go with that. But overall, more choices. Even though
Yeah.
I definitely see the upside of less choices and simplicity and how it's less stress free, less regrets, all that.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna agree with that notion.
Peyton,
So,
what is? Oh, go ahead.
oh no, you can
All
you
right,
can
Peyton, what is segment 3? What is it talking about? Tell us about it.
So segment 3 is the
I cannot say that word.
Enigma?
Enigma?
Yeah, Enigma of absolute truth.
Can I have like a brief introduction of that?
So, if the absolute truth about everything was attainable, would it set us free or limit us?
So this is kind of like a blue pill, red pill situation. Yeah, like, so the blue pill.
It's what I was just saying
You
about
can't obtain all the knowledge.
about the knowledge thing with the lemonade and the water. It's like Adam and Eve, like the tree of knowledge.
Yeah.
I almost want to skip this one because there's like, I don't want to go like ranting.
Yeah.
But
I think this one
because it's just so similar to like what we just talked about.
is like, if you know everything, then nothing's gonna interest you because you can never learn anything else.
Exactly, and you'd always
Exactly,
like,
that's what I was gonna say.
like, would you think about this though? Like, do you know what's in the future? No.
Like, if you
So
could,
like so
It's all the
say you're
knowledge of
betting
any
on like a baseball game say you're betting on the outcome. Like, would you know who's gonna win, or would you know like the exact statistics based on physics on who's gonna win?
so I think once like knowledge is obtained on Earth, you immediately get that knowledge. So you get the knowledge on how everything is like was created, how everything happened, how everything works.
Okay, so you would know the
And
exact
then-
statistics of them winning.
Yeah, and like all the knowledge that like of how everything works, and basically the answer to everything in the universe.
Which may or may not be able to predict the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I think everything in the observable universe that like has already happened, which is in the past, is what I was trying to get at. And honestly, I wouldn't want to know everything.
So like, would you
'Cause
learn new things as they happen?
As well, because you already know everything.
But like, so you know everything in world history, right?
Yeah, you know everything that happened.
Okay,
in
but
the past.
world history is happening right now.
Yeah, so you
like,
know everything that there is to be known.
So if the president dies across the country and it's not in the
You
news yet,
immediately-
would you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's trippy. See,
someone
there's more to
outside
that
knows.
than people say. It's not just knowing everything. It's like omnipotent, kind of.
Yeah.
That's weird. I've never thought about that before. That's kind of what I was going for.
Like,
It's
you
like
would
a
just-
nice like mind-opening
what-
experience.
You know everything that happens, everything that happened. You know everything in past and present,
And how everything happens.
and how it happened, how it worked.
Alright. Peyton,
Actually, do you introduce us to, or is Peyton
you do
Yes.
it. You do it again.
can introduce us to the
You
mystery?
did it so good. It was great. It was awesome.
Okay, so segment 4 is the mystery of time travel. So debunk the cliches and guys, I cannot read.
Debunk the
And
cliches and delve into the
believe-
scientific philosophical enigma of time travel. I have a lot of
Yeah.
crazy theories on this, but I've been spewing. I've been running my mouth the whole time.
So how about like in English? You can explain that to our
Debunk the cliches and delve into the scientific philosophical enigma of time travel. It's basically says talk about time travel.
Yeah.
I want y'all to talk about it. I'm just gonna listen, and then at the end I'll put in my little theory if y'all don't already go over it.
input. The first one is discuss the associated with time travel, such as the grandfather paradox. If no one knows what that is, let's just say you go back in time, you kill your grandfather or your father, then you would never be born to go back in time and kill your grandfather. Therefore, making it an infinite loop of none of that could happen because it never existed. So I guess either nothing would happen, or
Shoot, I
it
have
would
to
just
butt in.
create
I have
an
to. I'm sorry, I was
alternate
trying to be quiet, but Yeah, exactly. See, you got it, man. Y'all don't need me. That's what I was gonna say. If timelines branch out and there's like another universe for every choice, then that wouldn't be applicable, and you would be able to kill your grandfather. It would just split into another universe as he dies.
Yeah. So what I've heard from, go on. Okay, so I'm gonna be brutally honest. I don't really think about time travel that much, but when I do, I don't really believe that it's something real. But if I ever do get like the like weird thought that it is real, I always think of like time travel as someone went back in time and like whatever they did when they went back in time was what created whatever happens in the future. So like let's say I went back in time to like 20 years ago and said it, like let's say I went back in time 20 years ago, but like as myself, and then told my mom that she was gonna have a daughter named Peyton, and that just like stuck with her, and then so she just named her daughter Peyton, and so that's why I'm Peyton. Like it all like is just this big loop that just continues forever, and so like people going back in time is what causes like the future. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah, so it can affect the future.
So
It doesn't
like,
actually branch out.
so like how Marty McFly made the skateboard.
Exactly.
That makes sense. I have an issue with that though. I have a major issue. Is that if time travel ever exists in the future, and we're able to time travel into the past, so this is only under the conditions that A, we make time travel in the future, and B, we are able to go to the past with that time travel. Under those conditions, time travel would exist for an infinite amount of time afterwards. And because of that, they would end up traveling back in time to an infinite amount of locations and time destinations, which means that an infinite amount of beings would be appearing all around us, all at the same time. So there's two answers to this. Either traveling back in time will never happen in the future, or by the time it does, we have reached some kind of interdimensional, like we have reached the fourth dimension to the point that like we're invisible to third dimensional creatures. So like there could be people traveling back to my timeline around me right now all the time, but I just can't see them or interact with them because they're in a different dimension, on a different level.
Yeah.
Or
so
sorry, one more thing. My bad. One more thing. Or it could just be splitting off into a different timeline the second they arrive at my time. Go ahead.
So to add to that, if the fourth dimension, if we could not possibly enter the fourth dimension, and if you want to learn more about dimensions, look up Kid Explains Dimensions.
I've seen
it's
that.
like a kid. Yeah, it's a very good video, and it really opens up your eyes to what's going on around you. But Neil deGrasse Tyson said, if time travel existed, and obviously staying in the third dimension, like Asher said, then time would not matter. So far, time travel has not happened in the third dimension. Because, and it will never happen in the third dimension.
I agree.
Because it would have already happened. I do know.
Here's what I'm saying now. Here's what I'm saying. That only applies if he's talking about time traveling into the past. If there was some kind of time travel that only let you time travel into the future, then that would be possible. I believe that could work.
You know, someone has actually already time traveled 0.024 seconds, or it could be even more zeros in front of it, into the future. Because if you look at, like, let's just say a sheet stretched tightly, and a planet or something with mass, just anything, presses down on it, and it affects time. So if you were to orbit as close to the event horizon of a black hole as possible, every second could be weeks to years on Earth. So, like, I don't know the exact science from it, but if you were to do that, then every second could be a year on Earth, and it just depends on the size of a black hole. But somebody orbited around the Earth long enough for them to travel into the future because the timings were different. So that's a very real possibility. We would just need to access a supermassive star or a black hole.
You need a
to
lot of
make any
energy.
meaningful
Apparently, somebody
difference.
was actually able to harness a lot of energy, and they were able to transport a screw like half a second into the future. It's this dude
Also,
in
the faster you go, the slower
the slower time happens.
Yeah.
But listen, and there's this 21-year-old guy, right? His name, they call him Madman Michael Markham. And in 1995, he stole 6 power transformers from a power station in Missouri, and he was using them to build his time machine. And basically, he would set up like these big these like metal arms that would go up in the air, and then there was there's electricity that would go in between them, and it made like this portal. So there was like a spark that like went in between the metal rods, and then he used like a laser from a CD player, and it made like this shield, like this portal basically. And whenever he threw a screw into it, it would disappear, and then half a second later, it would appear like where it would have landed. So it would like disappear for half a second.
Yeah.
So
I think
he's saying that it time traveled into the future.
The only thing, like time travel related possible that I personally believe is possible is slowing down time by going at a certain speed. And I'm talking like 98% the speed of light to make any meaningful difference. Or going into the future using the mass of supermassive objects like black holes or massive stars. Even neutron stars are very dense. So anything with a lot of mass that can put a meaningful dent in space can actually time travel.
Well, they have that movie Interstellar, where like every hour in space is like 7 years or something on Earth. Is that real? Like, not like is it real, but like.
So it's based off a real
concept.
So that can actually happen.
We just haven't figured out a way to get space.
Yeah, we haven't figured out a way to get near something to make a meaningful difference other than, like, of course, that one astronaut who orbited, like, the Earth and traveled, like, an indistinguishable amount of time. Like, he didn't notice that whenever he got back to Earth.
Uh-huh. But he was, like, a little bit younger or older than the people that he returned to.
So if he had a twin, that was, everything's the exact same. Like, the moment that life beat into them were the exact same, then he would be that much younger than his twin, of course, saying that they were alive at the same time in their mother's belly. So that is a cool concept to think about.
Yeah. Segment 5 is the intriguing brain in a vat hypothesis. It's basically the idea of like can we ever be sure that we are not merely brains in a vat controlled by higher entities? A vat is like a big bottle, in case you didn't know. Discuss the brain vat hypothesis. We're reading from show notes, in case you didn't know. Peyton, go ahead and try to explain this to me, because I don't really get it.
So I think it's like saying, it's asking like, are we sure, like, do we know that we're not just like some pawns that are kind of controlled by a higher entity or something greater than us, and we're kind of just these things that do and say as we're supposed to, and we're just controlled by something bigger than us.
Yeah, it could also be like this, like a simulation theory, where we're all just in a simulation and it's being altered by like people in the real world. That's sort of a similar concept. Because like microorganisms, there's a whole universe of microorganisms in a pond or a lake that's like has any pollution in it, of course, assuming it's not just pure water, then there's like a whole universe, right? And it can be affected by, I guess, chemicals that are put in the water. So like, what if there's something bigger, like, that we're just, like, the whole universe is just, like, a drop of water to them. Hello? Yeah, so I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't believe in this at all. Yeah, I think this is a bit far-fetched.
I think this is kind of a spin-off of the idea of, like, the simulation theory. I think it's what it's trying to say.
Even the simulation theory, like, simulation theory, I don't believe in that either. Personally, it doesn't match up with my religious beliefs, but I can see how
Why
it's a
not?
possibility.
Why doesn't that match up with Christianity?
I think just because Christianity kind of says that we are our own, like, we're our own beings, and it gives us, like, we're not controlled by anyone or anything. Of course, we have a way that we're supposed to live in ways that we're supposed to worship our God, but
I know, but
we're not controlled.
Christianity also
and we're
said
not,
that some guy made the world, so in a way that is kind of a simulation.
well, I mean, I think it's simulation, but I think it's also, it's not, like, controlled. Like, simulation theory, yeah, it's not controlled. Like, yes, I believe that the world was made by God, which is, like, a being, greater than any of us, but we're not controlled by God. We're supposed to have our own opinions and our own choices, and we're supposed to do whatever we want, and if we make the right decisions and the right choices, then we go to heaven with eternal life. But I don't think that we're controlled in any way by anything besides ourselves. Yeah, that's a good point. Because that is the religion. I think all of us here are Christian to at least some degree. Some more than others. But yeah, personally, on religion, I know this isn't the topic. I like to think of it more as like a science and religion thing. Which I know some people are going to relate to that, some people don't care. But I'm going to have to agree with that this is a far-fetched theory that is not very true. But obviously, we would never know. Until we die.
Yeah, with the simulation theory, there's honestly no way to really prove it or disprove it. But that's what makes it fun, so.
Yeah.
Peyton, go ahead.
We can all agree with that. Or at least me and Peyton can agree. There's this, not true. That's just an opinion, not factual.
I mean, I could say it's not true, but the idea that it is true is just as likely in my head. So it's not really that I'm denying that it's true, it's just I'm denying that it's able to be proven as true or false. So because of that, I can't really make a decision. This is in regards to the simulation theory, by the way, not the brain in a vat goofball thing. Alright, what's the last segment, Peyton?
So the last segment is the Fermi paradox. Whoa. Paradox. I don't know if that's how you say it.
Paradox?
Paradox.
Paradox.
Yeah. So with billions of stars in the universe, why haven't we made contact with extraterrestrial life yet? So, I actually have a very good statement on this. The universe is expanding faster than the speed of light. That's why the edge of the universe looks very dense to us, even though it's not. That's why we're never going to see past the observable universe because light works. So let's just say you look out at a star, right? That star, you're going to see it as it was 100 years ago because if it is 100 light years away, you're going to see it as 100 years in the past because light hasn't traveled here yet. So every star in our sky could have blown up, and you will never see
Every
the
star?
aftermath.
For real?
If every star blew up,
No way.
we would not
the
feel,
sun.
we would. Well, okay, obviously not the sun. That would only take 8 minutes.
Well, isn't there stars
get
in
to us.
between the sun? Oh yeah, because the universe is like so big that the distance between the sun and like the second biggest star in our sky, isn't it like really big or something?
Yeah, the closest star is Proxima Centauri A, and it's 100 light years away. So even if that one
How do you
blew up,
know this stuff? Oh yeah, because you're in space. I was
yeah,
about to say, if you're just like making stuff up to sound smart, you're doing a really good job.
yeah, I know. So even if every star in the sky blew up, I doubt that any of us would ever live to ever see any of the stars blow up. We would never feel it because vibrations don't travel through space, and matter won't travel faster than the speed of light. So we'd never feel the aftermath until after we're long dead, because that's just how light and matter works. It can't go faster than the speed of light as we know it yet. We've never seen anything travel faster than the speed of light. So, that's like how the universe works. But also, if any planet was created after our planet was created, then anything after their planet was created, they're never gonna see, because the universe is expanding so fast that like the light is going faster than the speed of light, so they'll never see us. And the universe is so big, like there's the chances of like us ever seeing extraterrestrial life, which apparently we have seen extraterrestrial, which is pretty cool, like the little Mexican dudes from space.
What? What are you talking
That was
about?
yeah, it was found in like Mexico or New Mexico. I can send it to you after the podcast. Or
Are you talking about
now, if you wanna...
the Dr. Jim, the alien in the freezer?
Yeah. Well, hold on.
Is his name Jim something? I'm starting to the paradox of choice.
Let me find it. Hold on. Yeah, it's like little. Oh, yeah, I found the image. It's like a little short dude.
Here, send it to me on Discord and I'll put it on the YouTube thing so
Screen?
people can see. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you for waiting, by the way. If y'all are still here, like, that shows real dedication.
Okay, I sent it to you on Discord.
Okay,
Yeah.
sweet.
So I think if this is true, then this theory is completely different.
Oh, this thing? No, I don't believe that. There's another one that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Oh.
That's the only one that the government came out and said that they found.
The government came out and found this? Okay,
Yeah.
look, here it is.
Well, one of the government officials said that they saw like a UFO, and like they were on like what's that called in court? I'm a lawyer.
An unmanned flying object or something.
Yeah. No, they're on test, like they're in testimony, so they can't lie. And it was a government
under
official,
oath.
which means they were under oath, so they can't lie. Which means
that
this
makes sense.
Proven true by the government.
Bro, anytime a man of power or something is like under oath, they should always ask them if they've seen aliens.
Yeah, honestly. Well, they don't have to answer.
I know. I guess they don't. It's kind of a big illusion. Like, he swore in the Bible, so anything he said is true. It's not is true. It just makes me feel guilty if they lie. But like if a murderer is lying, they're not just gonna tell the truth just because they swore in the Bible. I think that's ridiculous.
So you actually can't. There's a law.
I know there's a law. There's also a law not to kill people. So like, why would you lie about it?
No, but it's like a law that prevents you from being a witness in your own trial. So you can't be forced to say the truth in your own trial. Because if you didn't, then you'd be charged with perjury, which is also a Class C felony. I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Class C felony.
You're freaking smart, dude.
So, yeah, I took a law class. That's the last year. If it's a Class C felony and can be punishable up to, I think, like 180 days to it's like 180 days to like 5 years in prison. Which is pretty a hefty fine of your time. And that's only if you're under oath in a court of law. So if you lie, basically, and they find proof that you lied, then it's a Class C or I guess it would be third degree, not class. I don't know. It's either a second degree. I forget if it's by numbers or letters. But it's the third worst felony that you can commit.
Wait, what is?
So, like, perjury.
Hey guys.
So, it's either it's a third degree felony.
What's the worst one?
First degree, or I think a capital. So then it's fourth, a capital felon, or a capital crime. Is like, I think the only way you can do that is by like if you kill like a bunch of people, or you kidnap
So it's
and
like
kill
mass murder.
like more than one person. So basically, committing a first degree felony, which is killing someone, with malice and premeditation, which is first degree murder, and committing another major crime like grand larceny or kidnapping or murdering, then that can be capital felony, which is punishable by death or life, or I think.
So it's
like,
kind of just based on like the
forever.
amount of pain that you cause people.
Yeah. Because life in prison is only like 15 years.
Huh?
Yeah, life in prison is only 15 years.
What do you mean? How do people spend like 20 years in prison? So when people say
Because
life...
they give them multiple life sentences.
Wait, what?
So they'll
I
give
thought
you 20
life in
years
prison just meant like you stay there till you die.
Yeah, if you want to put something up on screen, I think if you're in life in prison until the end of your natural life means that you're in life for prison, but a life sentence is 15 years.
Why do they call it that then?
I don't know, because it's kind of crazy. But so basically, I know we've gone like completely off topic.
That's fine.
They've already it's been disproven that there's any aliens because legally.
I love how you went from like 15 years as a life sentence, but it's been disproven that there are any aliens.
Yeah. So basically, to answer that question, we could do a whole podcast debating like laws.
I would love to do
and
that.
we could go over like the different punishments and how like what causes different punishments. So if y'all like to see that,
yeah.
Let's get at least 100 likes on the video to do a podcast
Shoot,
about
on
law.
this video? Bro, that's pushing
on
it.
this video.
We'll probably do it anyway, but if y'all would
Well,
like
yeah,
this
we'll do it
video,
either
that would be awesome, bro. Because like, it's actually a hassle to make these and put them up on all the different platforms. So if you could like or maybe even subscribe, it'd be great. That's all our segments, right?
Yeah, and if anyone would like to add anything to do in the future, go ahead.
Alright.
Any suggestions?
He disappeared. Well, that makes sense. Thank you so much for joining. That's all of our segments. And I can't wait to see y'all in episode 12. Thank you, Peyton. Thank you, Son. Podcast. Peace out.